Okay, hello everybody. Happy Sunday, Future Shock. How are you doing?
Happy Sunday. Yeah, I am very happy on a Sunday. I actually did wake up in a reasonable mood this morning. It's quite surprising. How are you?
I'm just happy I woke up. Every day is a blessing. Just wake up and crack on with this sunny day. What about the weather, mate? Weather we've been having. What do you think of that?
I'm thinking finally, it's actually going to be warming up. I tell you what, as well, the warmer-ish weather has been the thing that's been annoying me the most about this no drinking situation. But thankfully, there's only 2 weeks left. Well, less than 2 weeks actually, and so I can start really thinking about enjoying drinking in nice weather again. So yeah, I'm looking.
Yeah, do you want to remind us what your commitment was? You're sort of basically it's a sort of Lent thing that's just rolled over into late May. But I mean, you've picked a funny time, interesting time to quit drinking. Do you want to just give us a little rundown?
I kind of do this every year as a sort of like, because December is usually quite eventful for me in terms of like, you know, getting up to no good with drinking and stuff. So I'll do a dry January and then go from like mid-Feb to June, which is my birthday in June, and I'll just do that no drinking. But this year I did it slightly different because I drunk January and Feb, and then I stopped from March the 5th till May 31st. So I've got like 13 days to go now. So that's going to be
and how's it been? Have you substituted anything for booze?
No, because to me, I was only drinking kind of more sporadically anyway. So it wasn't like I was going out during the week or even every weekend. So it wasn't that difficult. It's just not doing it at all, you know, or not being able to just sort of go fuck it and go have a few drinks tonight. It's that bit that's kind of difficult. But I think once you get into, I think with these things, whether you're doing a food thing, a drink thing, whatever it is, I think it's like the first 2 weeks and the last 2 weeks are the most difficult because that's when temptation seems to be the highest. So I'm going into the last weeks. The drinking thing is actually not tempting to me at all because I know it's going to end soon with my birthday. So that's something to look forward to. Food is more difficult, to be honest with you, because I've been on a diet as well since March the 5th, as well as the no alcohol. So that's actually been a lot harder, because it's an everyday thing for me. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, for all of us.
Well, the price of beer and stuff is ridiculous. I went to the nearby off license that sells all these nice German beers, you know, all these kind of Edel, Hefe, Weisse beer and all this. It's like hitting £12. And I swear since the price has gone up since I was there, like, 2 weeks ago. And it's like, I just stood there and looked, I just stared and just...
do you go there and buy like the same thing?
For a bottle of nice beer?
I noticed.
And like, I need at least 3 of them. That's like 12 quid, bro.
Oh, it's kind of crazy, man. I mean, I noticed that when I go to a shop frequently to get the same beer, for some strange reason, that beer's price goes up after a week or so. I have noticed.
I know, right? Every time it's something that you like, it goes up in price. Every time.
Yeah. So I don't just be buying loads of it because I'll suddenly start buying loads of, I don't know. I got into the habit of buying those little Budweiser bottles because they're quite cheap. This was
Budweiser, the American stuff.
Yeah, just as an example, about a year and a half ago, for like a couple of weeks, I was buying loads of them, and then the price went up. I was like, that's strange. I've been basically buying your entire shop's supply of Budweiser, and suddenly the price has gone up. What a coincidence.
So, what would be like?
Much, to be fair, it's not great.
Sorry?
I was just saying, Budweiser, by the way, it's not that great. I know.
Well, I'm fully aware of that. Yeah, I would rather drink Budvar, you know, the Czech stuff.
Yeah, that's all right as well. I'm not a mad fan of that, but it is better for sure.
Right. So what? Well, okay. So the question is, what will be your first drink after? Did you say 6 weeks of abstinence?
No, it's since March the 5th, isn't it? So whatever that is.
How many weeks is that?
It's going to be like 16, not 16 weeks. It's like sort of 12 weeks, isn't it? Ish.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, it's a long one. I'm probably going to have I want to find some nice flavored tequila. I think that'd be a nice first drink. Because like we were saying backstage, I don't really want to do a beer because it's sort of a bit of a boring thing to have as a first drink, and then you're kind of sipping it, or do you down it? Do you neck the first one as a kind of thing? You know, so I think you go for something a bit nicer. Do you know what I mean? Go for a nice.
Depends if you've got a thirst on though. If you arrive at the pub or whatever, and you're actually thirsty, you're not going to reach for a tequila. Just, you know what I mean, to satiate your dryness.
I suppose in that respect, yeah, a nice ice cold beer. But I don't know. I think I still, if it was my first one, after all this time, I'm going to
have you eaten? See, that's another factor, isn't it?
Celebrate. Well, you pre-plan this stuff, don't you? You make sure you've got all your stuff in place. You know you're going to be there at a certain time or whatever. So these things are all in hand. They're all in hand. What would your first drink be then?
Well, I love tequila because it's sort of, I think we've mentioned different alcohols give you a different experience. I always found tequila was a bit almost trippy. It's almost a psychedelic. I don't know if it's just me, but I get, it's like when you drink champagne, right? The alcohol or something through the bubbles and gets your bloodstream faster. So it's apparently. There's different yeast and they give you a different buzz, right? They say gin makes you cry. Gin is not good for me, actually. It makes me want to arm wrestle people, so I avoid gin. But so what would it be? It would, nice cold Czech lager. Do you know what I mean? Something like that. Crisp Czech Pilsner, something like that, I think,
I do get the idea that if it's a summer evening and you're doing this after a summer evening, it would be nice if you're got to sit outside somewhere with a nice cold beer. That would be nice, to be fair. So,
I know it's gonna be something that you'll have to think about. So what are the options? The first drink after 12 weeks.
No, what will probably happen is me and
what are the options? Who are the contenders and what are their merits?
Well, I think I've been mulling this over for a while, and basically the tequila is the thing that I've come to, because before I was going to do White Russian.
Because I mentioned that, didn't I? It was the first thing I said when we did backstage, and yeah. So last year we did the White Russians after I did this thing again. So cool.
So White Russians is a possibility, but I think I'll probably have the tequila just because it's a bit different.
Is that Tia Maria, milk, and vodka?
So that's Kahlua. You can do it with Tia
Maria,
but it's better with Kahlua.
Is it like Tia Maria? It's Tia Maria. My mum loves that stuff. Coffee liqueur.
Same thing. It's just the taste is slightly different. It is noticeable. I prefer Kahlua, to be honest.
Yeah, that would be interesting. A bit of milk line your stomach. So was it a success? I mean, I was out with you last year. I don't think you had White Russians. I think it may have been before.
It was. I had them. What I was going to say to you just then was my first drink will probably be at home. So I'll have it at home. Yeah. Our mutual friend is coming over first, so she'll probably have a drink with me, obviously, and maybe a bit of birthday cake or something like that.
Oh yeah, so you're going to be loaded by the time you hit town, basically, somewhat. So we have a
couple of drinks, and then I'll be good. Like I say, muscle memory. I'm not worried, because remember I did this last year, and I didn't. I was all right last year, if you remember. So, well, until a bit later, until were
there any regrets with the White Russians, and how many did you have?
All I remember is I've never known a time in my life where I've woken up and got the day wrong. Like I woke up and I was like, I looked at my phone. I expected to see that it was Sunday evening, and by quite a lot. I expected to see it was Sunday evening. It was Tuesday evening. I was missing basically 2 days almost. I was like, how the fuck is it Tuesday? That wasn't just White Russians, though, if you understand my drift. So
I take you on a time warp or something. I did that. That's extraordinary.
Your guess is as good as mine. I've never experienced that in my life. I've never had that much time. I've woken up at the time where it's like later than I thought it was going to be, obviously a lot later, but not like by 2 days. That was a bit of a weird one. I think it was just a bit of confusion more than anything. I think I was mixing up. I thought Monday was Sunday and all this kind of shit. So yeah, I was a little bit confused, but we had a good time. Not that we can remember much of it.
So okay, so what do you? I've just the algorithm, the YouTube algorithm, man. Once you start looking for something, or once you click on, it's dangerous to click on certain things because recently I'm now apparently Chinese people are disappearing. Have you heard about this?
No, you don't have to. I've heard it happen before, but I didn't realize it was sort of gaining steam as such. Like, what's happening?
There's loads of websites. One's called China Deep Dive, and one's called China Observer. They got nearly 1 million subscribers. 5 days ago, this one. This is a month ago. Now, I don't know how accurate this information is. This is reminding me a lot of what happened before COVID. Do you remember those videos we got out of China before COVID-19? And what do you remember? You remember like seeing people just falling over in the street, right? And this being sort of removed into white vans and things. Do you remember that stuff?
There was, you reminded me of something else. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, do you remember those?
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely.
And there was, do you think it was so weird? And like, were they real? I mean, even to this day, could that have been some kind of psyop, to create panic around the world? Because some people don't really believe the COVID-19 thing was as dangerous as. I don't think we should. I think this is YouTube. We've got to avoid calling it that because we're going to get fact checked. So we'll just call it the bug.
Right in what you're saying. You're not like controversial in what you're saying, though. Some people,
a
lot of people, did or do believe that it was kind of a, if not a hoax, something that was extremely exaggerated. Or, well, you only have to look. Okay, so this is just factual information I'm about to say. Yeah, you only have to look at the stock markets, and you have to look specifically at stock like Moderna, AstraZeneca, Honeywell, who make all the masks. You only have to look at the activity of their stock from, let's just say October 2019 through till sort of present day to see that there's a strange trend there that you might want to take interest in that could indicate that it was taken advantage of. But I'm just suggesting that, truth be told.
My mate made a fortune selling them masks, He's Chinese, so he got all the contacts, and he's made from COVID-19. I mean, I had a good bug time. I was out in the Middle East, and working from home. It was just awesome, and I was just like enjoying my life, and getting on with a bit of writing. I mean, how was your bug time?
How was my bug time?
Bug time. I'm not gonna say COVID-19. I'm gonna say bug. It's the
bug time.
And we just don't get bloody fact check that announcement underneath every video when
I get it.
YouTube want to say, hang on, this is the voice of it, and it's so annoying. That's happened to me on a video about chemtrails. When I was just talking about, I think we did one video, didn't we? We were talking about weather modification. Yeah, if you look on that, we've got a YouTube sort of, nanny quote citing the so-called experts about chemtrails, and ironically, it's actually been announced as happening now, hasn't it? So do you remember the government? Announced
It's funny how some of these things are just sort of now accepted. That were, like, you'd get accused of having a tinfoil hat a few years ago, but now it's like openly talked about. It's strange.
Yeah, I mean, what's the difference between a conspiracy theory and the truth? 5 years. You could say that, like a conspiracy theory. In 5 years, it becomes actually a fact, becomes a truth, becomes official.
Yeah, you don't need to prove it. You just need to wait, and you just wait a few years, and then you can sort of look back and go, "There you go. There's my receipt."
So, what did you have a good bug time?
Well, the thing with it was compared to
enforced indoors,
normal. Nothing really much changed for me compared to a lot of people, because I was one of the very few people who are actually going to work as normal still. So I was expected to go in, to get on the train, to go to it. So my whole, apart from the lockdown aspect and, like no gym or no going out aspect, my actual 9 to 5 didn't change, apart from the fact that, I did work in a highly susceptible, healthcare role. So I was actually at one point on a COVID ward, as they called it. I've used the word a bug ward.
Bug ward. Yeah,
I was actually on the bug ward, and part of my job was trying to find people to work because everyone was too ill to work. So like there was no staff, so you had like the bug ward where all the bug patients were. So the entire ward is just full of bug patients. But because of this, all the staff just fell ill. And so like you ended up running out of staff for the bug ward. So there's me, and then there's like a couple of other people who aren't even affiliated with the ward. We're just drafted in from the outside, by the way. And then we're sat in this kind of war room going through about 4 different A4 pieces of paper full of names of people we're trying to get on the temporary staffing to come and work in the ward. Every single person that we frigging talk to either is ill themselves, their wife's ill, their husband's ill, their children are ill, their grandmother's ill.
Yeah.
So they're saying no. So everyone says no. And 1 in about 25 say yes. And we're trying to populate this frigging rota for the entire, just for a week. Just for 1 week. We're trying to populate a rota just for a week, let alone months. and we can't do it. I literally had to hand this rota, which was Monday to Sunday. It had about 4 names on it for the entire week, and I had to hand that to the chief executive as evidence of our work. I was just like, what the fuck do you want me to say? I can't know. Everyone's sick. What can I do? Do you know what I mean? And they were just.
God, so you were in the thick of it. You were actually part of some kind of critical, crucial infrastructure. That's quite cool. Yeah.
It's quite. What I will say about
and you find it was a lot less busy on the way to work. I mean, did you enjoy that? Like the empty tubes and stuff.
Man. It was one. It was.
Did they still run the tubes then?
Yeah, minimally. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was just whizzing around empty most of the time, I guess. I don't know.
It was like walking around at 5 a.m. It's like walking around at 5 a.m. constantly. It was beautiful. It was a silver lining.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Classic silver lining. Because it was so nice walking around town when there's no one around. So like the amount of times I've come out of raves and stuff at 6 a.m. I'm sure you've done the same. You know, you wander these streets, usually hustle, bustle, ignorance of civilization, and there's no one around. You're like a ghost wandering the city. And it's just like there's a certain the calmness of it is so absorbing, isn't it?
But it was like that all day,
all the time. Yeah.
Gosh, that's cool, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, about these so these disappearing Chinamen, it's really odd. I don't know what to make of it. Whether this is a psyop, but there's so many different sources. It says.
Wasn't the thing that you reminded me of? Sorry to just quickly cut in. So I was just going to say it was a bunch of billionaires a few years ago, wasn't it? Like rich people kept disappearing. I remember a few years ago. There's some called Bao Fan, who's like a tech guy. They're like top people in their fields, like tech fields. They keep disappearing. Isn't that guy Jack Man or whatever his name was disappear as well? Is that probably wealthy people?
He's not Jack Man, huh?
Is that a real name? Jack Man. There was Bao.
Oh, Wong Jackman, a Chinese martial artist. It's not that guy.
I might have got the wrong name. What was his name? He interviewed with Elon Musk and made himself look like an idiot with Elon Musk.
Hugh Jackman.
Not quite. My friend was Hugh Jackman's stunt double, by the way. Just interesting piece of info. Jack Man. I'm sure that was his bloody name. Oh, now my Google.
You can't say something like that and let that go. That your friend is Hugh Jackman's stunt double. That's pretty.
It was in 2006 anyway. Let's say put it that way.
Oh yeah.
Jack Ma. Sorry, not Jack Man. Jack Ma is this guy's name. So he's I wonder if he's been found then. Actually, Jack Ma disappearance. 2020 he disappeared in after he criticized China's like financial regulations and stuff. He then mysteriously disappeared, reappeared briefly for a video, I think, like to say that he was all right, and then disappeared again.
This is crazy. The people are reporting that towns are empty, shopping malls are empty, that soy sauce production apparently has completely dropped because there aren't enough people to sell soy sauce to in China. I mean, in the numbers that I don't know what to make of this.
This is strange.
Apparently, waves of people have died. Many had pneumonia, heart attacks, and cerebral infarctions. Many people died in their 30s and 40s. And this is from Mr. Lee, a villager in Jiukou, Henan province. It's not France, is it? It's China. It's weird. First of all, if it's really happening, then it's weird. But second of all, why are they telling that? Why is this happening? Why are they putting this information out there that Chinese people are disappearing, that there are ghost towns and empty shopping malls? It's really odd. Are they preparing us for something, you know?
2021 and have yet to return. The missing data sets have sparked wide speculation. A Japanese scholar once used salt consumption figures to estimate that China's real population could just be 800 million.
We lost you from
the Shanghai police database contained records for only about 1 billion people.
Yeah, I disappeared.
Beijing insists the population exceeds 1.4 billion, yet more signs of sharp decline are visible. Videos labeled "empty cities" and "deserted villages"
you seen this
appear
stuff
frequently on Chinese social media platforms, and users comment on deserted malls, quiet train stations, and sparsely populated rural areas. To understand the real economy, researchers now turn to alternative indicators such as satellite nightlight images, cement sales, news of gym and beauty salon closures, and mobility data from Baidu Maps.
So do you think there's anything in this? Or...
interestingly, I've just searched, whilst that was on, I was searching Chinese people disappearing on Google, and it wouldn't predict it.
Okay, that's interesting.
That's odd, isn't it? You would think it would predict. Even when I got to DISAPP, it still didn't predict.
Yeah.
I had to type the whole thing in for it to register as such.
I hope I don't get a copyright. What's it? Massive people disappeared. That's a bit of a weird. Massive people disappeared in China. Oh, massive people disappeared. You know the problem is with a lot of these videos, they're literally AI videos. Do you know that? Do you know what I mean? They're produced by AI. The voice is AI, and they're probably written using AI.
Yeah, I mean this is going to be a problem more in the future.
It is a problem, isn't it? Yeah,
it's already a problem now, but like in the future, Christ, it's going to be like we're just not going to know. There's got to be a way. We've got to be able to figure out a way of discerning without, because otherwise, what the hell are we going to do? We could just get fooled by AI all the time, potentially.
Yeah, there's a lot of that to do with quantum physics as well. There's a lot of sort of AI videos that are sort of saying kind of convincing sounding stuff that could be real, but it might not be. I'm just going to sort of, this is a mad one. There's some mad ones. So there seems to be like lots of AI videos, I'll just say videos. Quantum AI just unlocked the seraphim field hidden beneath the Planck scale. I'll actually just share that. I'll just find that and share it.
Okay.
It's
talking about that. Sorry, go on.
What's that? You saw something about that, yeah?
I did. It rings a bell. I remember. I didn't click on the link probably, but I saw that there was something about under. It caught my eye. That's all. Because he's saying about under the Planck thing, which I thought was like the lowest you could go, supposedly.
Exactly right. Yeah, the Planck length is kind of the length of a unit of space and reality in a sense, right? And it's definitely. And now there's still things come up here. I'll just have a little, 59,000 came 5 days ago. This one's 2 days ago. And you see, Spatialize? Actually, that's a pretty cool channel name, Spatialize, Beyond Horizons. They're all the same. Can you see that they're all sort of the same?
Yeah.
Space Secrets. That's got 2.6, 59,000 views, Beyond Horizons. So it's reckoning there's something called
physicists have long told us nothing
exists beyond our basic fundamental smallest measurement of reality. But if you watch this video, can you see the video? Yeah,
I can see it.
It's one of the AI voices as usual. Now all the videos that I've been watching lately have that same voice. So you'll see if you recognize this voice.
Yeah, you can hear it.
Exists beyond the Planck scale. Yes, that tiny 10 to the negative 35th meter.
It's a science voice, isn't it? It's
it's a very common voice,
meters.
Yeah.
Where space and time break down. But
It's
what if they were wrong?
I believe it's
what if this is
Canva? I believe
it's on Canva. That voice, is it?
I think so. Yeah.
Well, see, the thing is with this, it's absolute bullshit. There is no such thing as a seraphim field. It sounds cool, like it sounds awesome. Doesn't it? Seraphim is what the kind of the holy, the highest angels or something.
Angelic stuff in it.
Angelic beings, right? So it's kind of like what I'm trying to do with this stuff and my writing is kind of merge science, quantum physics, and reality, nature of reality, and find, as you said, the hidden shapes and the hidden sort of secrets behind reality and consciousness and eternity, that stuff, But this is absolute bullshit. There's no such thing as a seraphim field, and quantum AI has not unlocked the seraphim field. Do you know what I mean? And it's probably just been made by AI. The whole thing, this whole video.
That wouldn't surprise me. I mean, I could probably tell if I watched the whole thing. I mean, the thing is, actually, to be fair to you, one thing you do need to remember about AI video at the moment is you can't make a 23-minute long video. So you can only make...
but you can edit, can't you?
Yeah, but it would have to be 10 second, 10 second, 10 second.
Yeah.
We don't have time to properly analyze it, obviously. It could be.
It's super expensive, but I wonder what...
Isn't the end, but a doorway.
It won't be long. Don't get me wrong. It won't be long before...
Well, there seems to be different quality images. These have been tacked. This is quite a low res. Look at these low res. That's not AI. That's like a low res some kind of public domain thing, right?
Extraordinary.
They got these videos
A
from
quantum.
But if you look at this is the channel name. He's pinned his comment is an advert for solicitors.
Oh Jesus, yeah.
So it's like how this is how genuine. It's so crazy. This one has got holy smoke, 130,000 subscribers and basically 59,000 views. It's using fake science to promote a solicitor firm.
2.5K likes is pretty high. Yeah,
that's so mad, and people are watching this and not realizing it's bullshit. I know, but it's going to get worse.
It's going to be a real problem. I mean, even whether this is AI or not, when AI is a bit better, you will be able to do stuff like that quite easily. And I don't know what they're going to do to come up with. I don't know what they're going to come up with.
I mean, to be fair, there's some good comments. I mean, I agree with it. Consciousness is primary, not matter. Imagination is interwoven into universal consciousness. I like all this stuff, but sadly, this is not scientific at all. Believe all souls exist in the quantum state. This is what I've been writing about and talking about for years, and it's kind of now becoming somewhat accepted that the quantum realm is a kind of gray area between this world and the next world, between science and between spirituality.
It kind of reminds me of the chat I was having with this guy who I mentioned to you about the other day on WhatsApp, who was talking about the bricks and mortar, and I was saying the universe isn't made of bricks and mortar, and he was saying,
that thing, what was that?
Made of them, sort of thing.
I asked you to talk about that on the thing. So what was that quote you read out? Do you want me to find it?
Let me see if I can.
Particular question, right?
Find it.
I got it here. So it's like.
So you said, because I just said that, and then he was kind of like, well, what is it made out of then? If you don't appeal to materialism, what is your justification for epistemological and moral quandaries? So, I mean, I talked about the bricks and mortar.
Does that actually make sense, that sentence, though? I'm trying to... It sounds like it's trying to set up some kind of paradox, but what it's a condition. What is reality made of if it's not made of bricks and mortar? And so, therefore, if it's not made of bricks and mortar, what is the justification for moral quandaries? Is that an AI? Who wrote that?
I don't think he was. And he followed it up, actually, by saying... So it was kind of a double message. He followed that up by saying... In the philosophical advent of coherentism, which I had to look up, I didn't know what that was, Christianity is the ultimate winner. So
well, okay.
I mean, what I put to that, sorry, just before you go, I'll tell you what I put to that. I said, well, a belief system can be...
Oh, you talking to AI? Is that what you did?
No, this is a guy on Twitter.
Oh, right.
This is a Twitter mutant.
This is a weird... Are you sure he's not AI? He sounds like a bot,
No, you can tell. You can tell when they're a bot.
He's a real person. He's a real boy.
Yeah.
He's got a really... So he's a Christian, basically, right?
Yeah, he's got Ephesians 6:10-20 as his kind of, I don't know, subtitle on Twitter. He's saying, Ephesians 6:10-20 is the truth. I'm a seasoned veteran of verbal combat.
Okay.
Seasoned veteran of verbal combat, except he didn't reply to my reply to him, which was a belief.
The armor of God.
Coherent, yet incorrect. Why is Christianity unique versus, say, Hinduism? Questions he didn't reply to. There's no need to overcomplicate. Divine experiences don't need formal or societal structures, is my point. I can sit on my couch then like later observe the reply or guidance. So that's kind of my response, and he didn't reply to that. So
okay, so finally, just be strong in the Lord and in his mighty power. Put on the full armor of God so that you can take your stand against the devil's schemes. For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers and against the spiritual forces of evil in high places. That's a pretty good quote. That's the Ephesians 6:10-20. That we're not fighting. Hey?
Quality bit of language, good bit of language.
So this guy's on X, is he?
Yeah, he's a guy who just... I don't even know how this started. How did this even start?
Oh, do you want to send him on to me, and I'll maybe have a go at him as well? I mean, yeah, I probably agree with him. I don't quite know. His way of using language is quite ornate though, and it seems that sometimes his ideas don't necessarily make logical sense. I don't know. Do you? What I mean by that?
I mean, I had to put it this way. I had to think a bit about that bloody epistemological and moral quandaries justification question. I mean, yeah, it took me. I had a moment of pause before I answered that one. I didn't exactly.
I mean, it's a bit of a fallacy, though, isn't it? What it's like, isn't it reductio ad absurdum, right? What is reality made of if it's not made of bricks? Well, it was clearly not made of bricks and mortar, but is he using that as a metaphor for, I don't know, you know? And then why does he say, well, if it's not made of that, what's the justification for moral quandaries? Yeah. Anyway, interesting stuff. And he's waiting for him to get back to you, yeah?
Yeah, since May the 16th, so I don't think he's going to get back to me, so never mind.
All right, I tell you what, we've been going for quite a nice bit of time. I'll put on a tune.
Now already, that's mad. Okay.
Yeah, I know. I'll put on one of the band's called Sandwich Pan. It's my mate's band. I work with them as well. So, are you going to put on a tune later? Do you think Future Shock or?
Well, I tried to upload it just then, and then that's when I disappeared. So I'm going to try and figure that out without disappearing this time. So, how long's the song?
Oh, hang on. Wait a minute. How long is this song? Yeah, just
so I know how much time I've got to upload.
Let me just check. The only problem is with the interface on StreamYard, it doesn't bloody tell you how long. You just play it, and you just have to. You don't get any sort of timer or anything like that.
Ah, okay.
Wait. Yeah, you don't. So I have to just go to the folder and check it out. What is this one? This is just under 4 minutes.
All right, cool.
So this is a slightly humorous comedy. Well, it's a somewhat humorous song by Sandwich Pan. Challenge for the audience out there is, as you listen to the names that are listed, can you find the odd one out? And if you're not engaged in something, Future Shock, can you spot the odd name out? So hopefully that will all make sense once I play the tune. So about 4 minutes. Are you ready, Future Shock? All right, let's go.
I'm good.
Who are the stars who light up the night? Who fill up your heart with laughter and tears? Who are the players who make you believe? Whose is the music that still rings in your ears? The national treasures that you most admire, the pedestal people apart from the plebs. Let's ask this man down here under a rug to give us a list of his favorite celebs. Jimmy Savile, Stuart Hall, and Jonathan King, David Attenborough, Stephen Tyler, Elvis Presley, Charlie Chaplin, Jimmy Page, Gary Glitter, Bill Cosby, Bill Wyman, Woody Allen, R. Kelly, Pete Townsend, Michael Diamond, Ian Warren,
say Bill Cosby.
Hey? Hey?
You didn't say Bill Cosby.
Hey? Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know.
Well, go on, say it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby.
Say it again.
Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby.
Say it a bit louder.
Don't you do it again. Don't you do it again.
Let's do Bill Cosby again. Say Bill Cosby.
Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby.
Okay, folks, welcome back. Anyway, why would that do that? Anyway, did you get the odd name out there, Future Shock?
I didn't listen.
Were you paying attention, or were you otherwise engaged?
To upload that thing, I had to open up another StreamYard, and it caused an echo, so I had to turn it down because it was jarring. So I didn't actually listen to it in the end.
Okay, so it's a list of it's a list of names of celebrities with somewhat bad reputation among of the public. But there's one man who's named who did nothing wrong as yet. I believe that name is David Attenborough. So he should have done a competition with a prize.
Oh, we can do that. That's something we can do in future then. But I hope it's right. I really do, because if you imagine finding out that David Attenborough was one of them as well. I
know.
I don't know what.
My friend, finding out that Rolf Harris was one broke my friend. He just broke his spirit, because he was like, this was before it came out, and he was just like pinning all his hopes on Rolf Harris being a good guy because he really because he liked him. A lot of people did. I even saw him at Glastonbury. Everyone was going nuts.
I saw him in Bradford. The Alhambra in Bradford.
Usually entertaining, of course, but what a wrong'un! What a wrong'un!
Have you seen the videos? Have you seen the videos of him from videos of programs from back in the day when he's
with his hands just wandering all over the place, that kind of thing?
And working with Jimmy Savile on some shows as well. Now you know what they've been up to, and you watch them back then on the recordings. It's so fucking creepy.
It's so creepy.
The good old BBC, The good old BBC.
But they're all like that. That's the admission. That's the price for admission, is that they have to control you with someone, and that happens, and then that's what they do. That's what these bloody these Illuminati, the Freemasons. That's what they're into, and it's the way to control them. I only assume that the reason he was exposed was because he went off message. Just the same way that Russell Brand is now being charged with various offences, which we can't mention on YouTube, but because he got off the script, he started doing something he wasn't supposed to do. So they got some. I don't know whether he's guilty, Russell Brand, or not, but we'll see. I suppose
we'll see. For a long time, you could say that he fell into the category of a sort of controlled opposition, because he for a long time was like super left wing, wasn't he? He did the Trues and these kind of shows that were not that long ago, really. And he's kind of like swung in the other direction now. So
well, it's funny, you mention it, kind of left wing, kind of obviously, I'd say that left and right is a kind of artificial construction, really, it's supposed to be like going beyond that. When I listened to him on the BBC on the radio, he used to do quite funny radio show. He was kind of talking about the Rothschilds and stuff. He was a conspiracy theorist like way back, but he got David Icke on his show, and who did they have with them? Fucking Julian. Who the hell was it, man? Jimmy Carr, something like that. And they kind of took the piss out of David Icke, and David Icke doesn't like Russell Brand because he thinks he's like controlled opposition.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, they had Mitchell. Do you know David Mitchell?
Oh,
that smarmy kind of Oxford, the BBC guy, right? And I think it was they kind of had a go at him, and they had a go at Icke, and David Mitchell says, well, I'm actually part of the very thing that you're trying to, I'm part of this international network, as a matter of fact, and sort of taking the piss out of him, Whether he was exposing the truth in plain view, I don't know, but...
Where was that on? Sorry, which program was that on?
Oh man, that was about 10 years ago. It was on like his BBC. Like Russell Brand had a BBC Radio 1, I think.
Oh, is that the one when he got into trouble with Jonathan Ross?
Famously got into trouble with Sachs, Andrew Sachs, his daughter. The so-called satanic slut. I mean, okay. I mean, it's one thing Russell Brand boasting that he banged Andrew Sachs' daughter, but why is she part of an outfit burlesque called the Satanic Sluts? That would be my primary concern. Never mind. It is a concern, isn't it? Your granddaughter is part of a burlesque art performance group, which probably involves some nudity or satanic sluts. And like, what do you expect? Russell Brand's going to be all over that. So, yeah.
Yeah, funny thing is, it turns out a consequence of being in a group called the Satanic Sluts. You can get some undesirable quality characters around you.
Well, yeah. Well, what do you think? That's a kind of advertising, isn't it? It's like what's on the label. So what is inside the box? It's okay. Satanic Sluts. All right. So yeah, and then all this fake outrage that Russell Brand boasted how he banged Andrew Sachs' granddaughter and stuff. Actually, it was bloody Jonathan Ross who got him into it, I think. But
I remember it was a voice note, wasn't it, that they left? If I remember rightly.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
They tried to call him or something, and then he didn't pick up, so they just left a voicemail. I was going to talk to you about the ghost. Literally, I was about to say to you about ghost boxes.
I'm just about to do it. I think I've just done the wrong one though.
I've not heard of this. I googled it, and then just some weird things like Amazon is selling these ghost boxes. Like, what is this?
Yeah, it's really weird. It's like
spirit box.
something that a lot of people are doing, but nobody really knows. There's no public awareness. It's really weird. So a ghost box. What did you see about it?
So I've literally just looked for the first time. Now I'm seeing like a Reddit group talking, like Reddit r/paranormal talking about I've had success with the S box or the SB7. It's like these are type of spirit box.
It's really, really effed up actually. So what it is, it's a spirit box is basically it works on the principle of using the radio, and it scans multiple stations at once, and it's a two-way kind of response. You talk to it, and then it responds by scanning all of the radio stations, and it creates answers. And it's supposedly spirits talking to you through this ghost box.
Oh, it's just an algorithm. It's just like an amalgamation then.
It's what is it?
So you're saying it's just an amalgamation of information from the scan of the networks and stuff?
Yeah, that's basically it. It's really, really weird. It's believed. So we've got a little thing here that's quite useful. What does a spirit box do? It's believed that a spirit can communicate with people using the white noise, which is why paranormal investigators and hunters of ghosts use white noise, because they say they can hear things in the white noise that come out.
Okay.
It's really quite far out. I'm just going to play a video.
Your brain will do. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, but anyway.
You don't think it's no? But it is weird. I wonder if I can share this video without incurring too much of a. This is a really crazy one. Look at this, for example, man. This is kind of ridiculous. This is supposedly Steve Irwin, the late crocodile, Australian crocodile guy, right? So this is what a ghost box can look like in operation, and this is how it works.
They would make it 11:11, wouldn't they? As well, they've done that on purpose.
So
can you hear that?
That can confirm whether we are in contact. With
right.
Okay, so this guy's speaking to this sort of two-way radio transmitter. This is what he's getting
Is
out.
Steve Irwin here with us tonight?
You see, there's just sounds. You get the idea, and he's interpreting what those sounds are and putting them into words.
Is Steve Irwin able to come through and speak with us tonight? Can we get confirmation from any spirits in the area? You want to help me? I'm not sure if that's what you said, but we're looking for any help we can get tonight. We're trying to get in contact with Steve Irwin.
So clearly, those crystals are an essential part of this whole thing.
Really?
There's a no. I mean, the thing is though, it's kind of not nonsense. It's kind of dangerous because I actually wrote about this stuff, and it's been going on for a long time. So there was a letter, actually. It's kind of related to mediumship, and it goes back a long time. For instance, in 1899, there was an account from a book called Demonism of the Ages by J.M. Peebles, and there's a letter that was written. Dear Sir, I'll share it. That would make a lot more. Can I share that? Will that work? Let's see. Yeah, no, not sure. I'll just have to read it out. Okay, so it says, Dear Sir, I've some experience with undeveloped or evil disposed spirits. I'll briefly state my case. 5 years ago this fall, I discovered that I was a medium and rapidly developed into a writing medium. Then it became clairaudience, which means you could hear voices of ghosts, right? Soon I had a test. I was communicating with relatives and very dear friends, having been a great skeptic all my life. I opened the door for all grades of spirits to walk in. And being earthly and selfish, they stayed controlling me to the exclusion of all my identified real friends. Finally, sad as it was, I had to give up all intercourse with spirit intelligences. Then when I found out I would not write for them, they commenced talking, and they kept tormenting me day and night for several weeks. The more I became annoyed, the more persistent they were, until it became unbearable. I used all my strength of will to stop it. They threatened if I would not talk with them, they would follow me to my death and make me insane. So this is a letter about demonism written at the turn of the end of the 19th century, where this guy started messing about with mediums, and then his head became full of these demons, these voices threatening to kill him and such and such. But this spirit box phenomenon is like a modern version of that. So I've got like a series of accounts that I've found on a website that talk about what happens when you use these spirit boxes. So there's small radio transmitters which scan the radio waves to create a modulating background of white noise, which can be used by discarnate intelligences to communicate with the world. There's a forum, paranormal internet forum, and this is one guy. This is a guy called Gator, and this is what happened to him when he started using a ghost box. It all started with a ghost box that I made from a person that goes by the name of UFO Geek. First, I was skeptical about it working. It's a radio that you mod to where you can talk with the dead. This guy then, he says, it was the biggest mistake I ever made in my life. And now I have evil angels all over me telling me I'm going to hell to burn forever. And it scares the hell out of me. When they say that because of my sins. Not only do they tell me, they stick me with sharp things all the time and heat my feet up like they're on fire. That's what it feels like. This guy, I have health problems now. I wear a heart monitor because my heart is acting up. I had an operation where they cut out 3 main arteries. Yeah, go on.
Sorry, no, go on. So I'm reacting as you talk. Sorry, I'm being a bit too loud.
These are all contemporary accounts from a paranormal website, and I've got loads of them, and it's really far out. These people start communicating with the dead on these ghost boxes, and then they sort of take over their life. There's even weirder stuff, though. So let's just. In the end, it turns out that he thinks it's Satan. It's not any relatives. Let's see. What do you think of that? What do you think of that?
What do you think? It's obviously, like, you know, when they have sort of controlled experiments, when people are sort of primed to expect things like that, people using these things are sort of like they're expecting to hear some sort of like ghostly speech of some kind, and it's like, you know, these things must be programmed with a kind of like degraded audio sound of some kind. I don't know. And then you got things like, your confirmation biases and stuff like this. I don't know. I would be like, look, me, I'm quite a sort of non-skeptical person as such, but I don't know. I'd be a little bit skeptical about this.
What about these accounts or what?
About the nature of the actual like hardware itself, what it's actually doing. I mean, like there's this disembodied consciousness imprints or something like that it's trying to pick up or something. Is that kind of what it's trying to say? I mean, yeah, I mean, it's all of it is there's no sort of supernatural element in the sense of like it's got like white noise, phone sensors of some kind, and like pre-programmed word banks, presumably, hence it gets the speech out. I would say it's just like a very clever algorithm that's playing on people's minds. Now, the reaction to that you're sort of referencing in terms of like how people are sort of going slightly crazy from it. I mean, that doesn't necessarily suggest that they're tapping into something. I'm open-minded. Obviously, I'm open-minded to it, but I think this is all kind of like, I agree. I definitely agree that these things are like a very dangerous thing, because this is like, let's say it's not actually contacting people. We know that for sure. Then what the hell are they doing? They're basically using these things to sort of suggest mental illness in people, essentially.
Okay, I've just got some more accounts I want to read. This is guy Alan. I'm also hearing voices for three and a half years now after playing with EVP. EVP is electric voice phenomenon. Okay. So that's where people start thinking, well, if you're using Ghostbox, you're actually looking for electric voice phenomenon. That's what you want. You want to hear voices in the static or by scanning the radio waves that are responding to what you're saying. But I'll just finish this account because this is really weird. I can tell you they're spirits, but not the dead. They're demons pretending to be people. And now they're on a load of drugs. I was on Seroquel, haloperidol, whatever that is. This guy, Steve, he's responding to Alan. I was well into the paranormal and was listening to EVPs and also meditating a lot before I started hearing nasty, condemning and threatening voices that now bombard me 24/7. I'm now on 6, so he's on drugs. He's on 6 milligram of Invega. He basically schizophrenic. I mean, this is what is called schizophrenia, isn't it, really? This one, I've just got to read a little bit more. Sorry, but had no history of it, presumably. Presumably, yeah. And that's what I gathered. They've started hearing voices after dabbling with EVP. I went my entire life, here we go, never hearing voices until I bought a digital tape recorder. I'd watched many of those ghost hunting shows where they caught voices or EVP on a tape recorder. When I tried it at home, I was shocked to pick up voices both in my home and in my backyard, because the idea is that you take it to a place where you think there might be spirits. One voice from my yard gave a deep hello in return to my own. So presumably he's listening to the static and he says hello. And from the static, he hears a noise, which he thinks, it's pretty far out. Anyway, it was clearly audible. Even friends were able to hear. There were many other voices people couldn't make out. Well, I was alone when I recorded. Needless to say, I was shocked. I continued to record even though the voices on tape were telling me to stop. I kept delving, searching for answers. One night, as I asked some questions, instead of hearing them back on tape, they answered me directly without the tape. That's far out. So you know what I mean? So he's using the digital tape recorder in whatever way to get a static, and he's hearing things from the static, and then he got it straight into his mind without the technological medium. Then for 3 solid months, night and day, voices were speaking to me constantly. The voices harassed me every waking minute, and soon everything had a voice. This is the weird part. Everything had a voice. So a car would drive by, and there would be a noise from the car. It was like the medium of the sound of the car. Something traveled along that and entered his mind. This is what he says anyway, right? We have to make our mind up what this really is. So his air conditioner would talk, his microwave. Yeah. There was a sound of a helicopter. There was this sound of a helicopter in his house, and by day. That's crazy, isn't it? When your fridge starts talking to you in your microwave, I mean, wow. What do you think? Do you think it's insanity, or do you think he's actually he's broken through into the dark portal and he's entered the astral realm, right? Unwittingly. What do you think?
Well, if we had to say it is the latter, then what's actually happening then if a fridge is talking to you? E.g., is that some kind of like, is that a demon or something to this effect, playing some kind of joke on you, messing around with you, sort of via the fridge, via a washing machine, taps, whatever they are? Is that kind of, because obviously, like, what realm are we talking about accessing where your kitchen appliances chat with you? It must be some mischief making by some demonic forces, if anything.
Well, yeah, okay. So you're going with it is demonic then? Yeah, well, I mean, modern science would say it's just all in his head or something. Do you know what I mean?
I personally think it's probably more his brain reaction, and then just kind of like the remnants of that lingering over a few weeks. But I mean, I'm not ruling out the other one, and what I'm saying is, if it is the other one, then it has to be a kind of demonic thing, because
demonic thing, right? Yeah. This is what I write about, though. This has been going on for hundreds of years, contacting spirits, and they say that our ancient civilization was created by communicating with archangels and demons and things. Like what is it? It's in the Bible, I think. Something like kind of Tubal Cain and
also
gave the gift of metallurgy and stuff, right?
You should remember as well, there is a kind of guessing element to the brain in a lot of things with like sight and sound. So I guess maybe when you've had, and this is kind of thinking out of the box here, I guess when you've had like a stressful experience with something, if you have like a stressful experience with something like a ghost box that leaves an imprint on you, it can have a lasting impact, like psychologically, in the sense of your brain kind of hallucinating auditory hallucinations that are sort of linked with it for a period of time.
You don't think it's the fallen angels, it's just? I think there's something crazy about this.
It's weird to find myself arguing,
and it's always the same story.
Usually, I'm arguing the supernatural bit is true, right?
Yeah.
It's weird to be arguing the other way.
Why would something of you? I always said this before. Want you to kill yourself? Why would we're hardwired to survive. So if it's something within us, part of our brain that hears these voices, and it's telling us, it doesn't make sense. It's something outside. I'm sure of it.
It could just be a malfunction, and that malfunction manifests as something that is illogical, i.e., kill yourself. So, it could just be a malfunction of some kind. But I do get the.
It's pretty weird. There's a story by Evelyn Waugh, and I think I mentioned the ordeal of Gilbert Penfold. It's like autobiographical. But he was on loads of drugs, and he was kind of stressed. He went on a cruise to try and relax, and he basically enters this realm of auditory hallucinations where the whole ship is conspiring against him, and he believes at the time that it's radio waves being beamed into his head. This is actually real. This is Evelyn Waugh, the faint Bride's Head Revisited. You may have heard of Evelyn Waugh. He's actually a great British writer. But he was started to believe that the ship he was on had some kind of radio network that could communicate people's voices into his head. And the thing is, though, it was the hallucinations, the auditory hallucinations, and the characters. They created a kind of continuum. It was like it was a story that they were gonna. One of them fancied him. That there was a girl that really liked him, and she was going to come into his bedroom, and he was waiting for her because he could hear her. He believed he was listening to these people communicating with some technology that they had. And it's absolutely nuts how complicated the story is and how consistent it is. And there's something on there, there's something out there on the fringes of this of our reality that is trying to get in. And if you use these things like these ghost boxes, that's a bad idea, and it's a way to get into it. It's kind of what do you think?
Well, either way, they seem to be kind of like an ignition, don't they? The catalyst for things. I mean, like, if you look at it again from more of a sort of physiological angle, these things tend to snowball, right? So, like, if you have a stressful experience with the box, then you kind of like raise cortisol, then you might, start getting anxiety, then you start to lack sleep, and then because of all that, you get kind of
there's definitely a biochemical aspect to this. Actually, that goes without saying. That's something I
all
accept.
kind of like feeds into itself, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because then you start lacking sleep, then you're more tired, then you're more prone to hallucinations anyway, and so it all just kind of then you don't sleep more again, and then you're on pills, and then it's even worse, and then the whole thing is.
Well, what it is, it's the adrenochrome hypothesis. You know, when you've heard of, you know what adrenochrome. You know, you've heard about adrenochrome. Gland. Hunter S. Thompson, of course.
Who could forget that scene?
But if you look into what schizophrenia is, it's a buildup of adrenochrome. So we have adrenaline, of course. I mean, you mentioned cortisol and adrenaline. They're produced in stress situations. But what happens is if those stress situations are maintained for a long time, and this is why the Freemasons have stress rituals, and they sort of enforce stress on each other to create this sort of illumination, this sort of Kundalini experience, you could also call it. Yeah. But the adrenaline builds up and is not depleted by serotonin. It's not scavenged away, and then it degrades to it oxygenates and becomes adrenochrome, the sort of famous, you know, magic chemical that the Illuminati are all eating every day for breakfast. But it's actually that is maybe part of it, and I can't say I've attended anything of that nature, but what I do know is that the Illuminati and the Freemasons, they try and create this adrenochrome crisis in people. And that's the initiation. That's what it's all about. That's why the stress. That's why the threats. That's why the sword held at the breast, or the gun in some instances, because it creates that certain frame of mind where you're open to the next world. And you can say it's hallucinations from the brain, but at the same time, my research indicates that it's a warfare. It's a spiritual warfare, and the Freemasons and the Illuminati, they're creating these agents who are controlled by discarnate entities, which we can say there may be fallen angels. Sometimes they pretend to be dead relatives. Sometimes they're literally demons. Sometimes they say they're Jesus. You know, they make people completely crazy.
Well, they'll tend to see whichever religious figurehead aligns with their own religion. So obviously for Christians, Jesus, or Muslims will report seeing the Prophet Muhammad. Hindus will report seeing Hindu related gods and stuff. So Buddhist, so it all kind of aligns.
I don't know. I don't think I've ever heard a serial killer said, Buddha told me to kill. I mean, there are sometimes, aren't there, with Jesus?
Well, yeah, that figures though, doesn't it?
Jesus there was that Canadian guy who was beheaded. But these people, they are like a standing army of these.
But there is, I don't know if you know, actually, interesting fact about schizophrenics is that they have quite low rates of cancer, and it's supposedly to do with the adrenochrome production, because they've done.
Hey, that's interesting.
They've undergone like studies into injecting adrenochrome into tumors, and they've had like really impressive results with breast cancer.
Gosh, that is pretty interesting. Wow.
Esophageal cancer, cancer of the head, neck, and liver. So there's kind of like, it says that there's sort of like this balance, this weird balance that schizophrenia brings that actually makes you quite sort of immune to developing cancerous tumors. And also it seems to be that if you do have a tumor, if you inject it with this kind of, I think it's like a gel of some kind they make with adrenochrome, and that can be really, really helpful. So strange one.
Adrenochrome is actually a psychoactive substance, so it's like it's basically like LSD. So having the adrenochrome experience, they would call it the illumination experience or Kundalini experience. It's a psychoactive experience, but it doesn't go away as long as you have the adrenochrome. So it's that feeling of being, on LSD, on reality. And that's what it is. That's the sort of hypothesis. It's the Dr. Abraham Hoffer hypothesis of schizophrenia. And he does suggest there's actually a cure, because you can take vitamin B3 niacin, which will scavenge the adrenochrome and then increase your production of serotonin. Because that's sort of the sort of psychotic experience is the battle between serotonin and adrenochrome. And if the adrenochrome is abundant, then you have hallucinations, hear voices, feel that sort of terrorized schizophrenic experience, that sort of unreality that they experience. But the question is, there's a biochemical aspect, but what is the reality they've broken into? They've broken into this other world through this biochemical experience. Do you know what I mean? Like an LSD experience. You break into another world and you feel like you've discovered something that is real. Do you not? I mean, what do you think?
Realer than real. I mean, I've told you before about that, what I call the DMT dream. I think maybe even the first show we did, I might have gone on about it. You know, the super lucid dream. I don't know if you remember me saying about it like a few weeks ago, a few months ago now. I had a proper super lucid dream, and it's so hard to describe how real it feels. It's kind of realer than real, but we don't really have language for that, if you know what I mean. So it's the strangest. It's real, but it's not. It's like hyper real. It's hard to explain, but when I've had
I mean, it's like it's like opening a window from this world that you didn't know existed, and I know the experience. I've called that the 4-dimensional experience, where your right brain is sort of fully activated, and that's the 4-dimensional aspect. That's your unconscious, so-called unconscious mind, isn't it?
That's where that great name we liked. We did talk about it because I remember mentioning the name of the woman that I met in the place I was at.
Oh yeah,
Abstracanus in error code. Do you remember?
What did you say? The name was
Abstracanus in error code.
That's
You like the name?
Abstracanus in error code.
Yeah, it's a quality name, isn't it?
It is definitely.
Name your first child that. You know what I mean? It's like Abstracanus.
That's so funny. It's like something like Elon Musk would call his daughter, exactly. Abstracanus in error code. Oh, that's so funny. Yeah. So I'm just going to play this little clip of this woman talking about these things. I'm not going to go into this too much, just to give us a visual sort of idea of what these ghost boxes are, and then we'll move on, play a song.
Back to Ghost Club Paranormal.
Can you hear that?
I am currently doing an investigation at the Glen Tavern Inn, and I just figured that I'd take a little bit of time so I can make this video for you and
is that made it louder?
How I made this device here, as I have been getting a lot of questions over social media.
So that's a so-called spirit box.
This is designed to remove any unwanted sounds from your spirit box here, and I honestly think that it's a really good tool for any paranormal investigator, whether you're a beginner or experienced. I believe that everybody should have a go at making one of these. So if you are new to this channel, my name is Jade. I am a Scottish paranormal explorer. Uploading new contraption here is all of this is just an add-on to your spirit box.
So that's the spirit box, that black sort of phone-looking thing.
Cancel out the obnoxious fuzz coming through your spirit box that everybody hates, and it will also delay the voices that are coming through the device, so they're easier to hear. So I'm not gonna lie, I don't actually know the technical term for what.
Okay, well that's enough for that nice lady for a minute. So
should we get one? We should get one and use it live. We should go live with one.
Yeah. I have to do a little bit.
Slightly tongue-in-cheek suggestion, by the way, but yeah.
I mean, it could be dangerous because
you've done that before. I don't know, but I think it's a bit.
But there's obviously loads of people doing this stuff out there. I mean, as if the world wasn't mad enough, and just wacky enough. We've got all these people who think they're talking to their dead granny or something through something they bought on Amazon. It's really far out.
It's definitely got a Ouija board vibe.
Yeah, well, it is, isn't it? Yeah, it's all that stuff again, but it's like a technological way of doing it. Yeah.
I don't know if you ever heard the story. There's an interesting Ouija board story. One of my friends told me. He's from Bedford, one of the most haunted, supposedly, graveyard in England is in Bedford. And we had basically, talking of my birthday, this time last year, one of our plans was to go and visit that graveyard, and having had a bunch of what's called blue meanies. Those are magic mushrooms, by the way. So this obviously on the face, it seems like a fantastic idea, taking mushrooms and going to the haunted graveyard, the most haunted graveyard. Anyway, for the mushrooms were enough on their own, let's say, and we never actually got to the graveyard. But the story is that there was
did the graveyard come to you, sort of thing,
Well, I mean, I think it came to my friend more than it came to me. Let's put it that way. But yeah, then that meant that neither of us got anywhere. So anyway, basically, this graveyard, there's a famous story from it. Some people went up there. A bunch of youngsters went up there. I think maybe sort of late teens, and they did a Ouija board. They decided to do a Ouija board in the graveyard in Bedford. I can get the name of it. I can't remember the name of it. Anyway, so they do this Ouija board, and one of them asked the Ouija board the question, when will I die? Because obviously this is what you do. You take a Ouija board to a graveyard and you ask it, when will I die? It's a sort of logical thing to do. And the thing apparently spelt out tonight. And then she legged it. She legs it away from the graveyard. She gets spooked. She runs down a hill onto a bypass and gets hit by a lorry and killed that very night.
Okay, is this a friend of a friend of a friend story, or
it's a friend of a friend? It's a friend of a friend.
It's a good story. Yeah, it's a good
I want to see if I can find that online. But anyway, yes, it's an interesting little yarn. But the moral of the story is, kids and everyone who's listening, whether this thing is true or not, probably not a good idea to go to a graveyard and do a Ouija board. Just suggesting. We're doing our bit for the community here. Like, don't do Ouija boards in graveyards. That's probably going to end badly.
You find a lot of people who do spirit contact. They're often quite accident prone, or they suffer from ill health. I mean, as I read some of those messages, those accounts from that forum, people get sort of the spirits somehow attack their physical body and weaken them, right? Because I mean, the theory is that these spirits need energy. I kind of believe in it. So it depends if you can credit it or not. But these sort of spirits feed on human energy. They feed on our light and our thoughts, and even giving them attention is a kind of because if you look, I mean, our attention, our positive attention to someone or something is powerful. Like if you look at a dog and you smile at the dog, and the dog becomes happy, you've made the dog happy by acknowledging the dog or stroking the dog. It's like attention is a kind of power, and you can give it to people, and you can make them feel good, or you can, in the case of the spirit, the mediums, you sort of seem to have that attention diverted from you, sucked out of you by these, I'd call them malevolent forces that need your attention to survive, to exist. Do you see how that could work?
Yeah, I mean, so why do you think, why do you think spirits, I know it seems like a bit of a hard question to answer or whatever, but why do you think spirits would do that? I know this is kind of like humanizing. In a way, it's a bit of a silly question because it's like humanizing demons, which obviously there wouldn't be demons if they were humanized. But why would there be an existence of a demon that does this in the first place? I know it's a very sort of ecclesiastical question.
Some of the ideas of demons is that they were the fallen angels, or the Nephilim, and when the Nephilim died in their human form, they became discarnate, disembodied spirits. I mean, according to the Bible, of course, there's the character of Satan, the adversary, or whatever. But it could be that there's just sort of like a waste zone, like a spiritual garbage dump that is what is known as hell. That is that's where consciousness goes when it can't reconcile with God. And it becomes these demons. It's a consciousness that refuses. I mean, that's the ecclesiastic, that's the Christian belief anyway.
There's a consciousness that, no matter what it or anyone else would try, it cannot sort of connect to. It cannot have a belief in God or a higher power, or a lack of understanding, or what. Seems a bit harsh to wallow in hell just because you kind of
Well, it seems to be that the idea is that there's light and darkness, isn't it? That sort of fundamentally sort of covers every possibility of that we are both we're simultaneously living in light and darkness at the same time in this third dimensional realm. But the fourth dimensional realm is the light based realm. So that's the sort of the four dimensional hypersphere universe, which is it's light based, and it travels at the speed of light, so it's eternal, and everything is available. Every piece of information, every conversation, every book, everything is recorded forever in this light. It's eternal. It never degrades. But outside of that, you're outside of this experience. This is the demonic realm, which can't reconcile with the light, for whatever reason.
I think Christ neither us fall into that category, then, because it doesn't sound much fun to me.
No, it probably isn't. It certainly isn't. I have actually experienced this astral world. I've actually sort of ventured into it. It sort of came into me, I've sort of seen these demonic forces, and they're kind of like a cold sucking sort of thing. They kind of feel cold on your skin. I mean, this is a long time ago. It was a pretty frightening experience, but fortunately I managed to sort of conquer the demons by reinforcing my mind and sort of, strengthening my focus. So it was no longer being whale age by meditation and stuff like that.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that story. It was many years ago, actually, wasn't it? Quite a long time ago now.
I tell you what, should we take a break? Should we play one of your tracks?
Yeah, go for it, man. Yeah.
What's it called?
Okay, how long you can ask me how long it is. Let's have a look. It's called Side in Silo, which is an attempt at some sort of play on words.
Silo. I see what you've done there. I like it. Side in Silo, yeah.
There you go. It's 4 minutes and 54 Earth seconds long.
Earth seconds. Okay, so I will play this and let's enjoy this. Is this a latest track from you, or?
Oh yeah. So basically, this track is forthcoming. So it's not out yet. So it's just been finished and signed up to Locked Up Music, which is a drum and bass label. So
are we gonna get a copyright notice for playing your own music?
No, because it's not. There's no contract signed yet. So technically, it is a free piece of music.
All right, cool. For how long?
That's a good point. I don't know when they're released. Later this year. I'll let you know.
Okay, I'm going to give it a shot then. So I'll speak to you in 4 minutes and how many? 43 seconds of time or so. Yeah.
Okay, back in a sec.
Let's go. Okay, so welcome back. Unfortunately, Future Shock's muted for the moment. I'll just let him know.
I am, right.
Oh, you're back. Okay, great.
Kind of dark and with our sort of demon chat thing.
Sorry, what was that?
I was like, the tune is kind of like, it's kind of broody and dark kind of vibe to it, kind of like a demon theme chat.
I like that little sample of that voice. That's quite a good bit. What's
it's
that?
Eerie, isn't it? It's all the eeriness to it.
Is she going to want 10 pence of rights for being sampled?
No, she's already
in the public domain.
Forfeited her rights. No, she's already getting paid for her rights because she's from a sample pack. So she gets she gets royalties for that. So it's all good. All good in the
yes. So I want to sort of talk a little bit. I remember that June 11th is the time of the major lunar standstill. And that's something that's quite...
June 10th, is it the 11th or 10th? Sorry.
June 11th, yeah, I believe, yeah.
Okay. Is that the lowest hanging moon? The low hanging
moon?
That's
a good way of putting it, actually. Well, in that period of the 18.6-year cycle, it's a period of both the lowest hanging moon and also the highest sort of, arcing moon, highest in the sky. So the moon the moon at that period will be actually June 11th. It will be lower than the sun is it will rise lower than the sun in midwinter, because it's a kind of solstice, because the moon has like 2 solstices a month. It has like a winter solstice where it rises at its lowest point, and then it has a little sort of summer one where it rises at where it reaches its highest point in the sky. And that's going to happen June 11th. And I mean, I noticed the other week I saw the moon in the sky, and it was really low. So if you notice that the moon is like, why is it so low? It's approaching the major lunar standstill. Well, there was a time, I don't know if you remember, was it like 6 months, it was about a year ago, people were saying the moon's disappeared. Do you remember that? There was literally, there were weeks and weeks when the moon just wasn't in the sky, it wasn't there. Do you remember any of that stuff? Where's the moon gone? Where's the moon gone?
I am, isn't it? No, I don't remember.
I mean, I don't think it wasn't on BBC Two or anything, or the news, but it was like an internet sort of where's the moon? It's disappeared.
Why was it sort of disappeared?
It was because it was caught in this sort of in this cycle, the standstill cycle, where it was appearing in this. If we couldn't see the moon because it was in the southern hemisphere. So what happens is, if the moon rises at its lowest point for us, that's the highest point in the southern hemisphere. They see the moon the other way around. You see, we see it rising, and we'll see it low in the winter, in the so-called winter lunar solstice. They'll see the highest point. So it was in a cycle where it was just not visible. It was in the southern hemisphere, basically, where we couldn't see it.
So how long? So is this not? Obviously, this isn't a common, like an annual thing that happens. No, it's the kind of more broad, because otherwise people would have. Why did people notice it then and then not on other times? Is it like it's not very common that this happens, or? Yeah,
well, it's an 18.6-year cycle, and the interesting thing is that it's many sort of. I did with me and Sandwich Pan. We did a song where actually I tried to explain what it means, how it works. It's quite about 7 or 8 minutes long. It goes into the historical aspect of it and how sort of sites like, particularly it was sites like Newgrange in Ireland, of course, and other Carrickhill Cairns. They commemorate the different aspects of the cycle of the sun cycle. The thing is, it has an effect on. Some say it has an effect on tides and on possibly on the human mind. But many rituals and monuments were established to commemorate this sort of 18.6 cycle. So how it works is, you know how like the Earth is tilted at 23.5 degrees, has like a sort of relative tilt to.
Yeah, I was going to say it's because of the tilt, essentially, isn't it?
And the moon also has like a 5-degree tilt. So when those tilts sort of accumulate, then the moon has the widest range. It sort of appears really high and it'll appear really low. And it will be quite extraordinary. That you should look out in the coming days, perhaps, that you'll see a really high moon. I don't know exactly, but June 11th, around that time, is a key date. But coming up to that time, you'll notice the moon sort of appearing where it shouldn't really appear, where it doesn't usually appear. And I remember,
prediction is I will probably still be drunk. No, actually, the 10th, isn't it? Because that's I'll probably be sobering up around then, so I can enjoy a high moon whilst I sober up for my birthday shenanigans.
Yeah, I mean, so the moon will appear really, really bright. It'll be so bright. And there's been times I actually saw this. I saw the major lunar standstill about 26 years ago. I didn't know what it was then. But there was a time when I saw the moon rising, and I thought, my God, it looks like the sun. It was like, that must be the sun, because you don't often see a moon rising on the horizon. It's not something that you see, is it? And when you see it, it's so extraordinary. Your mind sort of thinks for a minute, that isn't the sun. It's the moon, but it's behaving like the sun. And it's like, you get kind of decombobulated a bit,
So if the moon, so are people able to, so let's say people who are listening, and us obviously being in London, people like us, are we able to see it that well if we're in a city or a built-up town?
That's a very good point. Yeah, because the key place, you're going to need an open horizon. Ideally, is a horizon. I mean, the Caracciel, is it the Caracciel stone circle? I think I played a video which specifically, Callanish in Scotland. Which specifically commemorates this 18.6 cycle. Do you remember I showed that video with the stone circle with the stones, and how the moon rose against the so-called the maiden stone, and then the phallus stone with the sort of creamy quartz, stuff seam of it. It was all kind of very suggestive. That would be the site. You would go there on June 11th. You would see that ancient ritual. Should we call that an ancient ritual reenacted before your eyes?
Because Valley Hill, maybe something like.
Oh, right,
might not be too bad.
That would be great. It's a question of figuring out where.
I just looked it up. It's the or Google seems to suggest it's June the 10th.
It's the 10th. Well, thanks for checking that. Yeah, I mean, I don't know that it could have changed, but I'll just double check. June 10th, major lunar standstill, right? Is that what you typed in?
Maybe it changes based on the year. Yeah. I mean, it's not so set, is it? It is our calendar is essentially sort of fairly rough still, in a way.
Okay, so AI, June 10, 2025, the moon will reach its most southerly position on the horizon, marking a significant point in the major lunar standstill. The phenomenon happens every 18.6 years when the moon's orbit reaches its most inclined point relative to the Earth's orbit. During this time, the moon will rise and set farther north than usual, and it will be very interesting and unique. If people just pay attention, if they're around, they'll see a really high moon, which will be higher than the sun at midday on 21st of June. Do you see what I mean? It's quite like, how can it be higher than the sun? Well, it will be. It'll be like kind of almost behind you, above your head and behind. And then conversely, 2 weeks later, it'll be creeping along the horizon. So what it is, there's actually a Greek writer, let me see if I can recall. Oh, yeah, Diodorus Siculus in Book 2 of his Bibliotheca Historica. He refers to... I'll just have to close this window then. He refers to the stories of the Hyperboreans. The Hyperboreans are it's a Greek word for the mythical people in the far north of Europe. So that's kind of us. We were known as the Hyperboreans. It's kind of a mystical place that, beyond the north, almost like sort of Game of Thrones sort of stuff, right? So the mythical people in the far north of Europe were said to live in a realm of perpetual sunshine beyond the cold of the north wind. Those who've written about the ancient myths, Hecatius and certain others, say that in the regions beyond the land of the Celts, there lies in the ocean an island no smaller than Sicily. This is one of the Scottish islands, of course. This is what it's referring to. This island is situated in the north. It's inhabited by the Hyperboreans, and they're called that because their home is beyond the point from which the north wind, Boreas, blows. The legend is that Leo Leto, the mother of Zeus and Apollo, was born on this island, and for that reason, Apollo is honored among them above all other gods. There's also on the island both a magnificent sacred precinct of Apollo and a notable temple, which is adored with many votive offerings. This is referring to what we see as the stone circle of Kallanish. So they say that the moon, as viewed from this island, appears to be only a little distance from the Earth, and to have upon it prominences like those of Earth, which are visible to the eye. The account is given that the god Apollo visits the island every 19 years. This period in which the return of the stars to the same place is called the year of the Meton. So the moon was during this 8.6 year cycle. The moon was sort of seen as the visitation of Apollo, the god. So so that's going to be quite. I'm going to have to look out for that 10th of June. Try and get myself somewhere.
Yeah, you're going to need to be high up. There's a couple of places like that in London, aren't there? Like more south way. I mean, that have got hills like Ali Pali is. I'm not sure. Is Ali Pali the actual highest place in London, or is it? No, probably.
Isn't it supposed to be Parliament? Oh well, it's actually Hampstead, isn't it? It's that. It's that point where you climb the hill out of Hampstead and you get to Hampstead Heath. That's the highest point. Jack Straw's Castle. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Westerham Heights apparently is the highest place by quite some distance as well. Westerham Heights is in North Downs, boundary between London and Kent.
Yeah, that's kind of not quite London anymore.
Yeah, that's not quite it, is it? Second is Sanderstead Plantation. Where the hell is that?
Right.
I have no idea what that is. Croydon, apparently. There we go.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I don't know what I'll do. I'll have to get out of London or something for that time to see that. I mean, the best place to go is literally, I think I'll play that video again, that Carrick Hill thing, right, where it was seeing the visitation of the god. I'll just play that again.
Play it for a bit though. It was like 6 minutes long, wasn't it? And
I'll just play it for a bit. Yeah. All right, just bear with. Yeah.
Apparently, Stanmore is the third highest part of Stanmore Hill is the third highest part in London.
Okay, I'll just try and share. Oh, Kallanish, right? I'll just try and share this. Stop sharing. Yeah, I'll play this mutely so you can just watch. it. I hope I don't get enough copyright. Yeah. Okay. Add to stage. There we go. And play. Yeah, so this will happen on June 10th. Can you see the video?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Do you want to mute it? You're saying?
Yeah. Actually, the music's pretty damn good, actually. I think the music's so nice, I'll keep it on a little bit. Maybe lower it a little bit, yeah?
Lower it if you like, yeah. I mean,
how's that?
This would be a good place to do mushrooms, I think. Why do I always bring it back to mushrooms?
This would be awesome, wouldn't it? I mean, you'd attend this as a remarkable 18.6 years. That's quite a long cycle. Alex Stone. Oh, that's suggestive of.
They don't try and hide it, do they?
Sex. Yeah. I'll just skip on a little bit. So that's the start of the. Here it begins with the moon rising at the lowest point, 18.6 cycle at the end of that. I'm not actually sure where Kallanish is. Kallanish, Lewis. So this is in the island of Lewis. So this is why the Greek writer referred to it as an island in Hyperborean. So it is effectively, it's a Scottish, Lewis, I think it's a Scottish island. I think it's I don't know if it's a full island. So would you attend something like this with a bag of mushrooms or?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Ideal countryside. You've got a sort of special, cosmic or celestial event going on.
Celestial event, we could call it. Yeah. I mean, this is what they do. There's loads of them, like pagans and stuff. They've all got mushrooms, and they do these meetups. There'll be loads here on June the 10th, just going nuts. It'll be quite interesting. I think, yeah.
It'd definitely be a memorable experience, I'm sure.
I might do it, you know. Yeah. Because I saw them, I did a, where was it? A site in, near, Wimbledon Park. There's a so-called Caesar's Well there. And pagans like to visit there for sunrise, you know, the certain dates. I was in Parliament Hill on the 21st of March, and there were a load of pagans there, and we watched the sort of the sunrise. So yeah, you know, we had mushrooms at that time. But...
Yes, well, it would be a pleasant event.
Yeah, so I mean, as a Christian, I don't see a contradiction between celebrating and being aware of these kind of cycles. I mean, some people, you know, there's often an exclusivity, isn't there? You know, you can't necessarily be, you know, pagans sort of feel that they were persecuted. Well, of course they were. I mean, obviously the thing is the church, as it has been historically, has been sort of quite aggressive, and, you know, their version of they're sort of an intermediary between Jesus, when we shouldn't need one. We should be able to communicate directly with Jesus and have him in our hearts. But then the church became this sort of, you know, this intermediate sort of muscling in and what Jesus really said is, what Jesus really means is, and of course many sort of alternative cultures and even Christian culture were mercilessly wiped out and slaughtered by the Catholic Church. So, absolutely. But I'm a Christian. Yeah, I don't see any contradiction though between celebrating these celestial events, you know, maybe with a handful of mushrooms, who knows? But and also sort of knowing that I'm saved by Jesus. You know, I don't see contradiction. Do you know what I mean?
Well, it goes back a little bit in a sense to what I was saying to the guy that we were talking about earlier, the Twitter mutant that I was talking about. That's sort of what I was trying to explain to him. That you can have a more personal connection. You don't necessarily need a kind of like huge structure as such behind the idea of connecting with God and knowing God and you know, being able to observe, to be able to have a communion and to observe reactions and guidance that God or the universe or higher power, whatever you might want to call it, would give for you. You don't necessarily need to sort of be a member of some vast structure societally. That was kind of my point. I'm not saying that you shouldn't as such, but I mean, I'm not saying that. What I am saying is that it's just not like as necessary as people might think, because you can just sit on your couch and, you know, talk to God and then see the response in subsequent reality. You know, maybe not that evening, but maybe tomorrow, the next week, etc.
I suppose the point is that, you know, as long as you're talking to something and it doesn't answer you back, because so if you're sort of talking to something or looking for a spirit or some kind of thing and it starts speaking to you directly, you're probably maybe not talking to God anymore. You're talking to something else.
Yeah, the response is not going to be verbal. It's going to be in...
Yeah, exactly right. In reality. Maybe in peace, maybe in reality, maybe in things changing for you, maybe just the sense of comfort and protection, which, you know, as a Christian, I feel that, you know. And I mean, I was nearly involved in the Illuminati. I mean, I was trained by them. It happened many times, and the final step to joining them is to do something really, really unpleasant. And I refused every time. I don't want to go into what they do, but you might be able to guess from what we've been talking about what the Illuminati are involved in and how they control people, and sort of they set situations up, and it's really unpleasant. But part of that is the change of consciousness as well, because when you sort of plug into that, you're plugging into the Luciferian realm. You're connecting with something huge and ancient, and it's full of sort of disembodied spirits. And I mean, famously, Winston Churchill had a voice in his head telling him where to sit at important meetings. So these sort of spirits, they sort of guide people and they try and control them.
Yeah, I didn't know that about Churchill. So he was known as, I mean, he did drink quite a lot of, was it whiskey that he drank a lot of? Maybe he was
I mean, did George Bush say God told him to invade Iraq? You know, all this sort of stuff, right? You know?
Oh, okay, George, that makes it all right then.
So, yeah, I mean, the option is I play another song and then shall we sort of say goodbye, or what do you think?
Yeah, go for it, man. We'll play one more track and then we'll say a few words and then we'll end it there.
Okay, just going to find the track. Gosh, can't remember what I was going to play now. Oh, no. Bear with. Actually, it's the wrong track, but never mind. Okay, anyway. Pretty good, actually. And this Sandwich Family. Okay, Smooth. Are you still with us, Future Shock?
Yeah, I just realized that the song finished and I was like, whoops.
Yeah, I know. There's a bit. It's actually an 11-minute long it goes epic. It actually becomes. But I thought I'll just play that bit. I actually didn't mean to play that. I meant to play something else, but I played it last week. But it doesn't matter. They're all good, sort of good tracks from Sandwich Pan. So yeah, they're going to happen. It's happening. Sandwich Pan. Look out! You heard it here first. So anyway,
I'm sure you played that tune before on here. I definitely
played it last week. Yeah. There's a load of crackers, but it wasn't the right one I was going to play, but it's okay. I just checked I got a message from you where you sent the the intro banner, and it's literally, I got a big red square that says, "This message seems dangerous." So Future Shock, you're dangerous, man. You know. Ooh,
yeah, I mean, all my messages dangerous. Right? Isn't that just the standard thing that my emails have? Not letters anymore, obviously. I forgot. I stopped all the letter bombing.
Everything's becoming more threatening. I mean, like, your message obviously isn't dangerous, but they've made it seem threatening by putting a big red square, and then sort of inviting me to report spam. Similar messages were used to steal personal information. Avoid clicking links, downloading attachments, or replying with personal information. It's kind of baby.
Anything that can be done to heighten your anxiety levels.
Yeah, I know. Even get the adrenochrome flowing, mate. That's what they're trying to do,
Even at the tiny micro level, just a little bit of prodding. If there's enough prodding, it just sort of cultivates a foundation of paranoia and anxiety. So, and then, then something like the bug thing happens, for example, and then it's taken advantage of even more.
You become one of them. You enter the Luciferian consciousness. You break through to the demonic realm for the power of bubbling anxiety and adrenochrome taking over your body. It even says I can't download. I did download the attachment, but then it says it's been identified as phishing, and I have to do it at my own risk. It's madness, Future Shock. Absolutely.
They tried to reel you in. Oh, so that didn't work. But anyway, never mind. But yeah,
I'm gonna looks safe, but yeah, I don't know what you've been up to, Future Shock, but Google is suspicious of.
Suspicious of
you're identified as a threat to me by Google, by AI.
Maybe it's basing that on my Google searches. I don't know. Maybe my Google search looks a bit weird, and then they're just keeping an eye on me. I think
AI in the future will tell you who your friends should be. It will like.
Yeah, friend suggestions are gonna like sort of go 10x, aren't they? It's not just some tiny little kind of tentative link. There's going to be some serious friend suggesting going on. Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm going to accept it.
I mean, that is only the start, though. The big red box is going to sort of get to the point. I mean, it's already so hard to use the internet. Everything's passwords now and captcha and everything just takes so much longer than it used to. Do you know what I mean? It's like so many locked, closed doors on the internet now that you have to scrabble to unlock. I
mean, I guess like as long as you're just clicking, sign up with Google Mail or whatever, you can get through shit fairly quickly, I think. But it is a jar. It is annoying. It's just like you're having to go through all these various hurdles that you didn't have to before, which is a bit.
You need an alphanumeric bloody username. You need to be sort of so and so John Smith 4500 hash, question mark. And it's like I mean, remembering passwords and things like that, it's so much harder than it used to be. Do you remember like when you first started on the internet? I was like, I think I got into it seriously in about 2005, and everything was simple, wasn't it? It was just like it was a nice place. I mean, they called it the Wild West, but it was a cool place.
It was funny to think, actually. I was thinking the other day, like, what did I used to like when the internet was in its infancy and it didn't have all the different options that it has now? Like, what did I used to actually look at on the regular? I think it was just like message boards, like the David Icke forum. Like
it was exactly. It was a fascinating, brilliant sort of community.
You would just go on message boards, basically, wouldn't you?
There were all sorts of people there as well, weren't there? Sometimes famous people, sometimes secret, sometimes the Freemasons were there, Illuminati. There were all sorts of weird stuff going on.
Yeah, it was an interesting time, and interesting times in the Chinese sense. May you live in interesting times.
Yeah.
It was definitely an interesting time, that kind of mid to late noughties period. It was kind of it was in its infancy, but it is starting to grow up a bit, but it wasn't quite growing up. It was kind of in that in-between bit where it was a bit of a wild, wild west still.
YouTube, the biggest video was like, loose change, right? About 911. Do you remember? It's like they destroyed the towers. It was all about that, wasn't it? There was so much stuff about 911. Who did 911? How was it done? You know, was it, you know, it's inside job, etc. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's right.
That spurred on a lot of that spurred on a lot of people actually to communicate on message boards and stuff.
God,
because all that stuff banned now, you know.
Do you know that that Loose Change was released on my birthday?
Oh wow! You see, this is it. We're getting the synchronicities again, right? So we had
crazy.
Yeah, really.
In 2006, so I would have been 22. It was released on my 22nd birthday.
I would have watched it when it came out because I was well into the day. I was getting in because I'd just come from basically, I had like sort of a series of Freemasonic recruitment attempts in the Illuminati, something in Japan and France and England. So I was coming off the back of that, and I wanted to sort of tell people or listen or find out who else knew about this and stuff. And it was a great realm of communication with all sorts of people. Some of them were great, amazing people, and then some of them were a bit kind of like suspicious and dangerous, and like Aleister Crowley, OTO people. Like there was that. I think we had one guy on the David like forum at one point who was the guy who sued the Gaia guys for defaming Aleister Crowley's OTO and accusing them of doing the things that Aleister Crowley said he did. Do you know what I mean? The OTO. Have you heard of those guys?
The Order Templi
Orientalists.
Yeah.
Sort of basically run Australia. You know, they love Australia loves the OTO. There's so many people in the OTO. And doing, you know, sort of fundamentally, it's like naked sort of sex magic, but it escalates into other things that, you know, if you just read what Aleister Crowley said he got up to, and you know, sacrificing and such like that. But yeah, they're pretty. So we had like one guy who was the guy who said he'd sued Gaia guys, and you know, I obviously wasn't exactly charming to him, so I was quite combative to a lot of these people because I thought I was fighting a battle for the truth. In a sense, I was, right. You know, it's like
these people. The first things you were talking about when I first sort of started like interacting with you more on, or like via anyway, the David Icke forum. I remember, you know, your whole like True Spoon forum had that quote at the top, didn't it? Like they try to recruit you, sort of thing. I can't remember exactly what it is, but
yeah. So insider information from the man they can't recruit. You know,
that's kind of it.
So I think should we sort of? I want to finish with a song, and then we'll say goodnight. Is that all right?
Yeah, go for it.
That's one tune from Sandwich Pound. Okay, this is a funny little one. So we'll play this and then we'll say a final goodbye.
What? Carrots, sprouts and cauliflower, broccoli and aubergine, peppers, mushrooms, courgettes, sweet corn, all spinning in margarine. I even eat the foreign one. Some of it's quite fucking nice. Pasta noodles, apple strudels, Thai wheat curry, sticky rice, donnelly, pepperoni, pepperoni and salami, spare ribs and king prawn satay, drenched in butter and pate, custard creams, pig wafers, hot dog, shortcake and rich tea, blue ribbons, Kit Kats, penguins, Twix, bourbon and Garibaldi, nails and pinners, gammon frizz, space raiders and ploughman's lunch, Boravants, flaky croissants, about 50 bags of monster munch, bamboo shoots and passion fruits, rotten tuckers, calamari, jelly tots, jelly shots and quattro smashed and candy. You fat fucking cunt! Ham and lamb and pork and spam, onion, guts and cheesy butts, and the treat is boiled sweet with spinning ants for diabetes, toffees, flakes and coffee cakes and bacon buns and Uber Eats, strawberry flan, lemon, meringue, a wide variety of soups, chicken wings and chicken wrangs, chicken breasts and chicken thighs, chicken's legs and chicken's eggs, a huge open and chicken pie, quarter pounders, wagon wheels, freezer full of ready meals, heroes, bounties, picnics, witches, rebels, pockets, toppings, munchies, salt and pepper, sugar, flour, chicken balls and sweet and sour, massa man and parmesan, all day breakfast out of can, ragout stew and vindaloo, spare ribs off the barbecue, chipolatas, smashed frittatas, and that's just for fucking starters.
Okay, yeah, that's somewhat in honor of your abstinence, your fasting from certain foods. So I hope that didn't trigger you into some kind of hunger-induced sort of crisis.
I can manage. I can manage. I accidentally, I don't know how I think I know how I did this, but it was a bit of a surprise because I order food in. I don't go Morrison's or Sainsbury's, whatever. I always get it delivered because I can't deal with going to those places. So
really, well,
yeah, especially when you live in where I live and you just got the types of characters that go there. Anyway, so I get it delivered in somehow last week. Bearing in mind I've had no confectionery in the year 2025, and I was aiming to go.
Serious?
Yeah, that's absolutely true. So no chocolate, no biscuits, no ice cream, no cake, pastries, whatever you want. So I've got 12, 13 days of that left. But basically last week I accidentally ordered a bunch of bloody pain au chocolat, one of my favorite things. They just turned up at my door unexpectedly. And I was like, there's about 4 packs of pain au chocolat just arriving at my front door randomly. And I'm just like, what the hell?
You ordered them?
I'd accidentally ordered them via Morrison. I'd done my Morrison shop and they'd been bundled. Somehow they must have been in
it was your hungry subconscious mind trying to break through.
Like, so is that the universe testing me, or is it saying, you know what, you've done all right, have a little pain au chocolat?
What did you do with them? Did you eat them? You didn't,
right? In the freezer. Because I'm
good, right.
On it, man. Cool. On it. Can't break me. Nice. Can't break me that easily, God. Nice try.
Well, more likely the other. I mean, I've got leaders not into temptation. We ask, but the tempter.
A little bit demonic.
So the Satan is giving you pain au chocolats. You know what I mean? It may seem like a nice gift, but it'd break your complete. It would break the magnificence of your amazing fast. Very impressive. I mean, do you drink tea? Without a biscuit and a cup of tea, I don't know how. They go together so well. I mean, I just cannot have a cup of tea without a biscuit.
Not as a daily thing, but yeah, I do like a cup of tea, a nice cup of tea.
The biscuits, you've eschewed the confectionery for this year so far. Then no biscuits.
That's the hardest bit. I'm telling you, the
amazing
whole thing is easy. Like
really, the sugar.
Yeah, resist. I've had literally probably like no synthetic sugar. this year, which is kind of
very impressive. Actually,
all I've been eating is chicken, beef, vegetables, oats. That's kind of crackers. It's been a very basic diet. So there's been a little bit of sugar in the sauces. I do have a few sauces, so there's sugar in that. Then I'll give it that. Yeah, okay. But yeah, no, nothing sweet, nothing lovely like that. But soon come, man. 12 days. 12 days.
It's all going to happen in 12 days. You're gonna get cakes and beer and tequila and just bang it all. Just have like a big heap
and ice cream and pastries and
that could be messy.
Savory stuff as well, you know. So
yeah, well, have you avoided savory stuff as well then?
I've been avoiding mostly, yeah, because my diet's just been sort of quite a meat-based diet. Bread, the meat that I mentioned, like everything else, it's just been so bland, man, so bland. But that's why I had to have sauce on everything because it's just unbearable otherwise. But yeah,
you're actually living. That's very. I mean, listen, that is an amazing thing because, like, I actually got baptized in the Orthodox Church, and I'm technically an Orthodox Christian and they do these fasts, and it's quite arduous. You know, like I think Wednesday and Friday you can't eat any. You're basically a vegan for 2 days of the week. You don't eat any meat whatsoever. You can only you can't eat any cheese as well. There are different fasts, and there's days where you can't have alcohol. There are days where you can have alcohol but no meat. And basically, I think in the Orthodox Church it's incredible, but maybe as much as nearly a third of more than maybe half of the year is spent in fast. It's extraordinary. I mean, but that's a way of getting close to God. Do you know what I mean? It's a kind of symbol of obedience and self-control. I mean, do you know what I mean?
You're talking about a cumulative half of the year. So as opposed to going 6 months, it's every 2 days a week, yeah, which adds up to like kind of half.
Well, there's much more than that. I mean, there's obviously periods of fast. There are different Orthodox fasts.
Okay.
So obviously Lent's very famous. Great Lent's very famous. There's 40 days without meat and alcohol and such. But cumulatively, they fast for a long, long time, and I can't quite find, but maybe as much as 200 days total. They're basically vegans. Wow. It's really arduous, actually. It's really tough. But it means you eat different things, and you try different things, and you eat like a vegan would do. You're really imaginative, you know.
I think the one thing that helps me with this kind of thing is that I know it's temporary, and I do it at a time of year which is better for me because this time of year is where I don't have anyone's birthday. I don't usually have specific things I need to do in terms of like social events around that time of year. It's usually
you do this every time then. Every year.
Past 3 years, I've been doing a variant of this.
It's like a super souped up dry January. What it's really something.
Kinda, yeah. I mean, next year my plan is to do it slightly different. I'm going to do the dry Jan, then I'm going to do a little mini break at the start of Feb because I've got someone's birthday that we'll go have a good time on their birthday. Then I'll probably do the rest of Feb right through till Easter. Then I'll break again at Easter because this year I did fancy breaking it at Easter because if you remember this Easter weekend, the bank holiday, the weather was really nice. It just got sunny. And you just thought, it would be good to go, sit outside, have a few drinks. I think what I'll do next year is kind of have Easter as like a half-time little break.
This almost makes you a Christian because that's what they do. Like they have obviously 40 days of Lent before. Well, is it 48 days before Easter? Abstaining from meat, dairy, eggs, and olive oil. But that's debatable with the priest. You can sometimes have olive oil, but they ban olive oil because it used to be contained in animal skins, and they considered then that had become an animal product, but it no longer is. So olive oil technically is no longer banned. So it's 180 to 200 days a year of fasting for Orthodox Christians. It's quite extraordinary how long they're basically vegans for more than half of the year.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find out how many days would be. But so from Jan the 1st to June the 1st, my no confectionery thing, that would be like, obviously it's 6 months. So how many days?
Oh, it's amazing.
That's like 182 days, it reckons. So
it's the alcohol thing that really impresses me. So you've not had a drink since
March the 5th.
February, March the 5th,
yeah. So I mean,
and you've abstained from confectionery since 1st January or something. Right?
Yeah,
you had a dry January as well. So yeah, okay.
Well,
so you
no. So what I did have a dry January this year. I did last year, but this year I kind of did things a little bit upside down. I was
still, had an extra long Christmas, like I did. I just kept Christmas going into nearly 2/3 of January. I was still doing Christmas in our house. We were still just behaving as if I thought, fuck it, let's just keep Christmas going.
Well, I basically did it till the end of February, early March. So yeah, and then after that, I was like, whoa, yeah. Apart from the confectionery thing, I started that, but like the booze thing, yeah, that was from March the 5th, because there was a few things going on in February that I wanted to go to and drink, and I was like, yeah, I might as well just start it in March.
Right.
So I basically started it a month later than I usually would. But yeah, that was just this year. So yeah, every year I do a kind of little variation of this at the start of the year, because from summer through till Christmas, it's kind of difficult for me to do that with like birthdays and social events that happen in that part of the year. It just makes it a lot more tricky. So I kind of see it as a balance of, sort of being more well behaved early on in the year, and then like once my birthday hits, then you kind of like, succumb to the usual debaucherous temptations.
Yeah, well, very, very, very cool. But I mean, you're giving yourself a rest. You're giving your liver rest, to your heart, your body, everything. Alcohol free. It's really beneficial for you to take a break. And I try and keep fit, and I try and take a break just on the basis that if I do this, I'll be able to keep drinking in my old age. I'll just keep fit in order to be able to just enjoy my life. Do you know what I mean? It's a real, like, if you're fortunate enough to be in good health and all the rest of it. It's a blessing. So well done. I mean, I was having this conversation. 12 days left. I'm sure you'll make it. Yeah,
I'm going to make it easy. But like, which funnily enough, we were just talking about this before I came on air with you. Just before I started talking to you backstage, I was on the phone with my dad, and we were talking about the same thing about like, and because he's been a little bit unwell physically. I mean, he's nearly 83 now. He's 83 next year, sort of thing. So he's had a few physical issues in the past sort of decade, and so a couple of operations and that kind of thing. And we were just talking about what things that have held him in good stead for this kind of age to still be as active he is at this kind of age, because he is a very active person. He's not kind of like a couch potato, which obviously quite a few people turn into as they get older. He's still outside. He's like dealing with the garden and dealing with like making things and painting things and blah blah blah. And we were talking about how things like exercise, whether you go to a gym or whether you're just doing running or biking, whatever it is that you're doing, like it should be viewed in the same category as eating, sleeping, drinking water, etc.
Yeah,
so it's still not.
It's part of the essential maintenance of the human body, right? Exactly. I mean, in the old days,
for exactly the reason you give, that so you can still live your life properly. So not just in terms of drinking and being able to eat nicely, nice things as well, but just the way that your body mechanics are, that you don't grow old with injuries, that you don't grow old with these kind of pains and aches and things that people, I work in an over 65 department, and I see what these people who are from the generation that didn't work out, that didn't do training, they now suffer very much physically.
Is that the boomers? You say the boomers are most likely to be susceptible to that sort of problem? Yeah, that's interesting, actually.
One that's just before. What is the boomer age range?
Well, it's probably your dad, isn't it? It's supposed to be the baby boomers. It's like your parents. It's like they had post 1950s, post war. They had this sort of
okay. So
the 60s, the free love, and everything became sort of society rapidly changed. I mean, whether that transformation was natural or whether it was the Tavistock Institute or various institutions and sponsored disruption and changing our society, what it became in the 60s and 70s. Maybe that was a stepping stone to what we have now, and I believe that is the case. But so yeah, you're referring to the baby boomers, like people like my parents and your parents. People now 70, between 70 and
46 and 64 was the baby boomers that we're talking about. So yeah. So
okay, so the next generation, I mean, they're going to be like more conscious of their their body and
Well, I think that's why because if you're in your 50s now, it's not the same as being in your 50s back in the 80s. Like, because when we were kids, people who were in their 50s were like granddads. But nowadays, I've got a friend who's turning 60, in July, and you would not know. Oh, this is the same guy who was Hugh Jackman's.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's incredible. Yeah, great. Okay.
So you can obviously
does he have to look? Does he have to resemble Hugh Jackman? I mean, in his...
yeah, he has to be like back in that time, about 2007. Like he was like proper hench and stuff. So I mean, he's still good now for 60, but do you know what I mean? Obviously not.
So he had. What was he like? A face? He wasn't a face double. Was he a body? He was a body double, just the physique then, or something, or the height.
Yeah, essentially, yeah.
Does he look like Hugh Jackman?
It's like shots from behind kind of thing.
And is he? Yeah, okay, that's cool. I look. Is he in the movies then?
Yeah, he's in the. Oh, I forget which one it is. I can find out for you if you give me a sec. But yeah, so that's his kind of like one of his claim to fame. He's been in a few different things. He still does it now. He still does acting. I did my first ever score actually that was for a scene, first ever bit of music for a scene for a thing that he's going to be in that's coming up at some point. So that was quite fun, something a bit different.
That's cool. Yeah. Is that what's a TV or a film thing or something?
So I believe it's going to be something that comes out on Sky. I'm not sure what. I haven't really been told much detail about it, to be honest with you.
Oh, awesome. All right, great.
Forthcoming. But it was quite, just nice to do something a bit different. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, trying to find which movie it was. What was it? What was the X-Men stuff that was coming around 2007?
2007 was it X-Men Last Stand? Was that one? Oh, that was pretty good. I like that movie. I'm not sure it is that. Actually.
I can't find it, man. I can't find it.
2006 was X-Men: The Last Stand. It was the final film in that sort of that trilogy, which was really awesome. I quite like those 3 films.
Yeah, it must have been that. It must have been that one.
It was that one, yeah.
Yeah, anyway, I'm sure he said 06, so it must have been that one. So
Jean Grey's transformation of Dark Phoenix, that was so cool. I like all that stuff. You see, if you remember that movie, that's kind of like the Kundalini experience that Jean Grey experiences. She becomes the Dark Phoenix. She becomes this sort of portal into the astral world, and she has all this sort of, power. It's like I love that stuff. I mean, what they're showing there is this sort of the Kundalini transformation. That sort of is the apotheosis of the secret society experience, if you know what I mean.
I don't think I've seen that one. I've seen most of them, but I'm just looking at it here and I'm like, nothing's jogging my memory. So I'm like, I'm thinking, when was Vinnie Jones in an X-Men movie, for example? But yeah, so I don't think I've seen.
Oh, I'm the Juggernaut. Was he the Juggernaut? Right? I think. Yeah.
Okay, I will need to.
All right. I mean, I tell you what, that's actually, there are worse things to do than spend, the rest of the weekend watching the original X-Men trilogy, because there's actually 3 kick-ass movies. So
you're going to have to give me some movie recs, because I haven't watched anything for about a year and a half. Do you know what? Like going, but we were talking about the bug thing before.
You recommended that AI thing I watched that one you mentioned.
You found it a bit disappointing because a few bits.
It was all right. It was quite tense, wasn't it, at the beginning? Yeah, it was all right. Yeah.
I can see what you mean. I did have the similar thoughts about it. It's kind of a bit gratuitous sometimes and kind of a bit weird with the way he's always like making the girls and stuff. But I don't know. I just saw that as part of the whole kind of like him being an isolated loner genius type guy. I mean, of course he's going to do that, isn't he? So. I don't know. I remember the first time I saw it, I did think it was a little bit too much. And then, I don't know. I watched it again and I just sort of learned to appreciate, the storyline and stuff a bit more.
Bit of a cross between Westworld and the Stepford Wives or something like that, really.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. You're going to have to give me some recommendations, though, for movies, because I've been a bit out of the loop, to be honest with you, the last sort of 2 years, probably, to be honest.
Yeah, I know. I don't really watch. The thing is, that's the problem, though. The last thing I watched was that Mickey 17, right? With what's his name? That guy who was in Twilight. Do you know that one, Mickey 17?
Oh, you mean Pattinson?
Robert Pattinson. That's the last thing I watched. Yeah, but it was kind of flopped. It was kind of. It had a sort of so-called anti-Donald Trump sort of character. There was a kind of Donald Trump character that was represented, and he was seen as like a bigger racist who only, wanted perfect white people. And it was kind of a clumsy sort of attack on on Donald Trump and stuff, and nobody watched it. It flopped, because
always clumsy.
People are sick of left-wing bullshit now. They're just sick of left-wing lies and propaganda.
It's funny how they don't learn, isn't it? Like, and you see that all the mistakes that they made that led to Donald Trump getting elected, they're just doubling down on and expecting a different outcome. Like they're talking about running AOC as the next president candidate. Like, go for it, do it.
Yeah, please do. Yeah, let's have a third term of just have JD Vance in. I mean, yeah.
Who do you think will run? Do you think it will be? I know it's a bit away still, but who do you think it would be? Donald Trump Jr. or JD Vance who would go for the presidency?
I think JD Vance. I think JD Vance will probably be the guy because he sort of seems to be really supporting Trump and on his side. Whereas, like, was it Michael Pence? The previous one was like a sort of guardian or monitor. He was like watching Trump. That was a really spooky. Was it Michael Pence? What the hell was his name?
Yeah, Mike Pence.
Mike Pence. Yeah. But I'd love a third term of Donald Trump, man. I want a third term. I really do. I mean, it's the 22nd Amendment in 1947 or something. I think they did it because I think they had 3-term presidents until 1947. So I don't know if you can remove that 22nd Amendment, but yeah, I mean Donald Trump Jr. He's not really. I don't know, man. Is he? I agree with you. It doesn't really It doesn't really have a. Does he have a strong image? Would you say? I think JD Vance is a much stronger candidate. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, no, I agree. He's definitely the better candidate. I mean, did you see his interview with Joe Rogan? The interview that he did, JD Vance.
Oh, when was that? Oh, I think I might have done.
Just before the election.
Yeah, that's what I'll have to look out for, actually. Yeah. It'd be quite funny watching that after the election and knowing that they won. And, I mean, it made me laugh when I think Elon Musk, I think he spoke to Joe Rogan. And he says, if we lose, we're fucked. Everyone's fucked. Yeah. If Donald Trump loses, they're fucked. They're all going to prison. They're all going to be going to prison. Yeah. Everything's fucked. It's going to become like what they did in Romania. They just banned the president. Try to they put charges on him. I mean, it's insane. They were talking of put him in prison and stuff. But absolute madness. But thank God,
the Romanian one being done yet? The Romanian one is today, or isn't it? Or
there's an alternative candidate who is actually winning in Romania. He's a right winger as well. So their effort, they blocked the.
Is that Simeon?
But they're doing it all over Europe. Simeon, I mean, what's that?
George Simeon, is it?
So Romania, suggest a win. Hang on, Romanian election exit post just prize win for pro-West. This is a bit strange. George Simeon, so there's been a sudden change. Apparently, this is dodgy now because George Simeon was winning. I think they were effectively was winning the first round, and suddenly Nicolae Dan heading for surprise win over hard right rival. This is a bit surprising because it suddenly changed in this day.
Didn't that happen in France?
What did the banning they're not the Front National anymore, are they? They banned Marine Le Pen, right? They prevented her. She cannot stand as president in the election, and she was a favorite to win. So this is bad.
As an example,
pro-Western centrist Nicolae Dan is on course for a surprise win. Well, that's really surprising because George Simeon was winning the first round, and suddenly there's been a sort of Orwellian sort of memory holing of what has happened in the first round, and that's really strange. So that is a surprise because the last time I looked, George Simeon was winning, had the majority of votes in the first round. So that's weird. But what they did in France is, if there's an alternative, they'll do what they'll do anyway. If they can't arrest the candidate or if they can't ban them, they will make a coalition, and that's what they did in France in the election, wasn't it? They had this coalition. Everyone hated Macron, and they were trying to vote against him, but he kind of kept his head down, and then there was a sort of coalition of the centrist and the left, and even sort of elements of the right. And it was all the parties then were against Le Pen, and of course she lost because this is kind of electioneering and such. So, I mean, I'm not saying I support Marine Le Pen, but I mean, it's just you're supposed to have democracy. You're supposed to be able to vote for the candidate you want, and if that candidate is popular, then that should be the president. That's how democracy works. You don't start you don't put people in prison because you don't want them to win. That's what they do in the so-called banana republics, right? It's like we've gone that way now. It's so crazy, So yeah, listen, I've done a nice long show, so I think.
Oh shit! It's 2 hours 22 right now. Jeez,
yeah, it's all the twos. Yeah.
All the 22s. Okay, cool. Well, yeah, man, it's been a fun one. Definitely been a fun one.
Okay, so we'll say good night to everyone out there, and keep tumbling through space in all directions at once.
We are always tumbling, forever tumbling. But yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in.
Yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed it. Yeah, so
we'll be back next week. We'll be back next week, probably at about 6, I think, probably next week, something like that.
Yeah, okay. So
if you look out on socials, I know there's a few people watching us on X, I've noticed. So yeah, if you follow Truth Shock, and then we can let you know when we're going live and stuff. But it's usually 6 p.m. on a Sunday, so we shall be back here with more of the same chat about cosmic oddities and all the weird and wonderful stuff that's going on.
Okay, so thank you, everyone. Have a great week, and see you next week. Around this time next week, keep tumbling, keep smiling, keep laughing, and try and get into the light, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get into the light.
Into that light. Cheers.
Move into the light. Cheers.